Yes. I'm all right. I don't know why I laughed like that. I was confused. Because I'm relieved, I guess. It's over. A chuckle escaped him, and he clapped his hands over his mouth like a little boy who has inadvertently said a bad word in front of his grandma. Yes, I said. It's over. We'll stay here. Your mother ran away to St. Louis. Or perhaps it was Chicago. But we'll stay here. She? His eyes strayed to the well, and the cap leaning against three of those stakes that were somehow so grim in the starlight. Yes, Hank, she did. His mother hated to hear me call him Hank. She said it was common, but there was nothing she could do about it now. Up and left us cold. And of course we're sorry, but in the meantime, chores won't wait. Nor schooling. And I can still be friends with Shannon. Of course, I said, and in my mind's eye I saw Arlette's middle finger tapping its lascivious circle around her crotch. Of course you can. But if you should ever feel the urge to confess to Shannon. An expression of horror dawned on his face. Not ever. That's what you think now, and I'm glad. But if the urge should come on you someday, remember this, she'd run from you. Of course she would, he muttered. Now go in the house and get both wash buckets out of the pantry. Better get a couple of milk buckets from the barn, as well. Fill them from the kitchen pump and suds them up with that stuff she keeps under the sink. Should I heat the water? I heard my mother say, cold water for blood, Wilf. Remember that. No need, I said. I'll be in as soon as I've put the cap back on the well. He started to turn away, then seized my arm. His hands were dreadfully cold. No one can ever know. He whispered this hoarsely into my face. No one can ever know what we did. No one ever will, I said, sounding far bolder than I felt. Things had already gone wrong, and I was starting to realize that a deed is never like the dream of a deed. She won't come back, will she? What? She won't haunt us, will she? Only he said hain't, the kind of country talk that had always made Arlette shake her head and roll her eyes. It is only now, 8 years later, that I had come to realize how much hain't sounds like hate. No, I said. But I was wrong. I looked down the well, and although it was only 20 feet deep, there was no moon and all I could see was the pale blur of the quilt. Or perhaps it was the pillowcase. I lowered the cover into place, straightened it a little, then walked back to the house. I tried to follow the path we'd taken with our terrible bundle, purposely scuffing my feet, trying to obliterate any traces of blood. I'd do a better job in the morning. I discovered something that night that most people never have to learn. Murder is sin, murder is damnation, surely of one's own mind and spirit, even if the atheists are right and there is no afterlife. But murder is also work. We scrubbed the bedroom until our backs were sore, then moved on to the hall, the sitting room, and finally the porch. Each time we thought we were done, one of us would find another splotch. As dawn began to lighten the sky in the east, Henry was on his knees scrubbing the cracks between the boards of the bedroom floor, and I was down on mine in the sitting room, examining our let's hooked rug inch 2 by inch 2, looking for that one drop of blood that might betray us. There was none there. We had been fortunate in that respect, but a dime-sized drop beside it. It looked like blood from a shaving cut. I cleaned it up, then went back into our bedroom to see how Henry was faring. He seemed better now, and I felt better myself. I think it was the coming of daylight, which always seems to dispel the worst of our horrors. But when George, our rooster, let out his first lusty crow of the day, Henry jumped.